Every time I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about his numbers, but every time he's on, his numbers do really good. Like, really good.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was pretty good.
Chopping off fingers in the mafia. I mean, I
That's
feel
fun.
like.
What up and welcome to the Keeping It Loco podcast. I'm Justin Ortiz and this is
Pam Fender.
And we are here with Tommy Ray.
Who keeps it local.
He does keep it local and he's an amazing
investor.
I do real estate investing. I've been in the industry for about 20, 25 years now.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah. So first of all, what got you involved in this industry?
I went to school as a mechanical engineer and got a job at a real estate law firm. And then after that, I understood the background of real estate. And then
did you need an engineering degree to get yourself in a real estate law firm?
No, not at all. That was not a mistake, but it was just it made engineering. It makes your mind think a different way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the how real estate pads your pockets, you just really can't go away from that kind of stuff if you know what you're doing. And just learning it for the last 25 years just feels like something it's in my bones now. I don't know what the.
Didn't you make a lot of mistakes? I heard.
Oh yeah, I've been triple fined for not pulling permits. I've been I have overcompensated. I told my investors they could make more money than I could give them, and I had to come out of pocket to give them their full profits. So don't promise investors when you can't actually pay them.
Yeah.
Because makes your wife very upset with you. Yeah.
You're still married though.
I am. We're happily married. She's a banker, so she gets
the risk.
She keeps me humbled and makes sure I don't mess up a little bit, but definitely have. But yeah, in the market, I quit my job in 2011, my 9-to-5, and I started dabbling in wholesaling, flipping houses and stuff. Yeah. When I say wholesaling, it's kind of a negative connotation. When wholesalers, they find houses for cheap, the dirt for cheap, and they don't want to use their own money.
Right.
Investors use their own money. They find houses for cheap and they use their own money.
Yeah.
So if you meet a wholesaler, that means they probably are just trading property for trading owners and stuff. Yeah. At the end of the day, be a real estate investor is the way I go because naturally, if you lose money investing, you want to make money investing.
Right.
And so the second half of my investing career, we've made money. And,
So if I'm understanding correctly, and we are going to get the questions, you had to lose money to be able to learn how to make money.
Yeah, you gotta lose money. What do they say? Scared money don't make money.
Yeah.
So I've been scared, and now we're on top of our game in the last maybe 10 years.
Do you think it's because you've been able to really find some really good solid things where you're like, hey, we did that before, that didn't work? Do you feel like you got better strategies at this point? Is that what it is, or is it just found better deals?
I think through experience, not doing the work yourself.
Okay.
Is the better thing to do. When you let's say we go back to wholesaling. When you do wholesaling, it means you don't touch the property.
Yeah.
And you find it cheap, try to sell it more expensive without touching the property.
That means really not doing any of the work.
Correct.
The work was already done.
Yeah,
and
you might want to cut the grass, something like that. But the work is being done by finding the property and the owners of that property. Yeah. But you got to be careful not to take advantage of the seller. Because that's, morally wrong, and like a lot of law firms, they don't want to mess with that kind of stuff.
Right.
There
can be title issues, things like that, and you're not always going to know there's title issues when you're doing these things because you're kind of cutting corners on some of the things, right?
Correct. So my first mistake, one whole year of trying to rehab a property, and it comes down to where you get into a different market where it was nice when you got it. The market went down, and now you can't sell it for as much as you thought you could.
Yeah.
The other strategy. So wholesaling that way is great. You make a little bit of cash up front, and it's awesome, and you think you could do it again and again. But the best strategy I found is to invest and hold. and let the markets go through its course.
Right. And when you're saying that, you're saying I'm using my money. Sometimes you can still get a mortgage, stuff like that. Like this.
Yeah,
You don't always have to use your own cash when it comes to that stuff. Can I ask a one-off question that doesn't really flow? But is it true that when you're an investor in general, the first couple of deals, like a lot of times you got to put a lot more skin in the game doing it. But once you have established yourself, a lot of companies out there, investment companies, will actually give you a lot more money up front.
Yeah, it's great to look good on paper. You only look good on paper when you have the experience.
Yeah.
Having paper and money, like having a loan or being able to get a loan and also having cash is a really, really great combination, because you could actually lock properties down faster with your own cash. And then if you look good on paper, you can refinance out of that, get your cash back, and now you have a property being paid for by a renter.
Right.
And then you have your money back in your pocket. You can rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
So going to your hold strategy when you're talking about that, so the renter's in there, let's say the renter's in there for year one. Your hold strategy, is it 2 or 3 years because of capital gains, or what's your hold strategy?
Well, my whole strategy mainly is the market. My wife hates renters, and we don't like it. But sometimes you don't have a choice. You got to get that property making income for you. So it would be the 2 to 3 years, judging by the market. I mean, let's say during COVID, I had to hold a property. We paid cash. I had to hold a property because we couldn't get the squatters out because they froze all the evictions.
Right. I remember that.
And that was almost a blessing in disguise, because 2 years later the property increased value by $200,000.
Got it.
We didn't put a dime on in the prop. Well, we bought it with cash, but
you didn't add any additional investments outside of the initial.
That was it, and it sold for a lot more than we thought it would sell for, and then they tore the property down. So we knew it was going to be a tear down in the first place, and they put three houses on top of that.
Yeah.
But that made sense to me. I'm like, shoot, I should hold longer.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying hold as long as you can before, if you can refinance it, hold it forever, because if you have a property manager, you don't have to worry about that, and that's an asset for down the road.
So what you're saying about investing in real estate in general is that, yes, there are investors out there that like to do the quick flips and things like that, but you do have shorter gains. Because,
yeah, definitely.
Because there's hidden things that happen.
Yeah. It's tough.
Things in the walls that you don't know about.
Yeah, I like land now, so not even looking at homes. Land is our go-to these days, especially in areas where it's almost like the Wild Wild West, where there's something going to happen, and holding land you cannot mess up, because it never depreciates. It just keeps going up. I mean, we bought land out in Lake Norman before. Well, at the top of Lake Norman. At the fire sale from Baker Granite for $25,000. Now they're building $1 million houses on there.
Right.
And we still own the land, but because I wanted to get if it's like a 70% occupancy or like ownership rate, where they're building enough $1 million houses on that land, my land's going to be way more than it was when I bought it for $25,000 years ago.
So here's my question to you. So let's just say you get $25,000 in dirt, right? It might be worth $100, but the question is that when you're talking about renters are paying your mortgage, you're paying the bills. When you hold land for the period of time you're doing it, is it almost like the stock market, to where you're holding it and you're not really getting a return on it? You are paying the taxes on it, but you're holding it for long-term gains, so there really is no income coming from those things.
Correct. That's when but you're not buying it for $400,000, $500,000.
Right.
You're
It's
spending,
pennies on the dollar compared to
compared to what it's going to worth. And I mean, I always tell my daughter, like, that's going to be her wedding present.
Right.
And so I don't have to.
By the way, one piece of land is going to be the wedding present. The other piece of land is going to be the actual wedding.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, but it's. I mean, land's gold mine right now. We've always done. The houses was awesome. It's romantic to do a house. You flip it. I took my son the other day by a house I did in Plaza Midwood, and he's like, "You built that, Daddy?"
Yeah.
I was like, "I really didn't build it, but I just made it look pretty."
Yeah.
And then, but it's a $600,000 house.
Right.
And we bought it for $75,000.
Yeah.
But
And then, one other strategy that I noticed that you said you were doing, I'm going to use Wilmington as a part of it, was an example, is that when you're searching for land, can you kind of talk to us about how you do those searches for land and how because you're not going, it's not on the market, right? The land's not normally on the market.
No, not at all. Now in Wilmington, like even in Charlotte, their new zoning has come out. Basically, you could build on pretty much anything as long as your home is a certain size for that property. So Wilmington has a long time ago, they took a lot of land from honestly, the black landowners there. They took a lot of land from those guys and slowly were made to give it back to them. Okay. But by that time they gave it back to them, they all were landlocked.
Yeah.
So we looked for that kind of landlocked land and then negotiated easement to access that property in order to, make it worth a lot more.
Right.
Because at the time, when you talk to somebody who inherited the property, from their family, and now they can't do anything because it's landlocked.
And they probably owned that land for over 20, 25 years because they couldn't use it because you have a whole bunch of properties around it and you really didn't have the ability to go in there to do anything with it because it's in between a whole bunch of stuff.
It's useless.
No right of ways.
Yeah.
Right.
And then and then you got to negotiate the access, and after that, the property's worth a ton of money.
So you've obviously been doing this for some time. Like people who would want to get involved with investing or wholesaling or flipping, what would be the starting point for them, in your opinion?
I was blessed because I knew how to research dirt. I knew how to look at the title searches. I saw a lot of Mecklenburg County has a really big tax problem. They can't keep up. They can't get the taxes paid. But you want to look at things that it's going into foreclosure. If it was me, I'd go look at what's being filed. It's called substitute trustee, which it means a property's about substitute trustee. It means a lender is hiring an attorney to foreclose on a piece of property.
Okay.
And that's public record. I see a lot of guys, they go to the courthouse and look at the estate files. With us, we started with the taxes. So we went after tax foreclosures. And before it would go to foreclosure, we go find the owners and negotiate a sale there. And Mecklenburg has a ton of those properties. So if you're starting out, it's tough to start out because most people don't have any money to start out. And that's the key. So if you're starting out, it's almost like
it's hard to start out.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. I think some of the strategies that I talk to people about, and to kind of how we talked about before the podcast, was so fund managers and flippers and flipper financing. A lot of times they'll call me and say, "Hey Pam, are you willing to?" There's an investor. He's pretty handy. Maybe he's got his general contractor's license, but at the same time he's got a little bit, but not enough. We're prepared to give him money if he has you alongside him because you've invested in homes. You've done real estate for this much time, and you partner up with them. So
finding the players.
Sometimes it's a partnership, not necessarily.
We looked up financial strategies, find the players, find the money, find the handyman who could do the work. Right. If it's not yourself, but the money's obviously the most important thing.
Yeah. At good rates.
And there's good people out there that will there's lots of companies that would pull money together for you if you're doing all the legwork, and then you get sweat equity in most cases. And that's how I started my first property. I remember flipping one property to pay for another property, and it was all sweat equity for me. Yeah. And we sell this property, we're all happy. But for me, I didn't have the money to invest in the other property. Right. So my profits went straight to the other property, and then after that property sold, I made money. But But
it was a hold. You almost had to hold for the periods of time of both houses.
Yeah. So, obviously somebody comes to the table with decent credit, ready to invest.
Sometimes credit doesn't matter. Sometimes it's just about how much equity is in that property.
So that's not always true. It is true, but it's not always true. So I did a deal with someone in Rochester, and my credit wasn't that great, right? And so they got the lenders, they got the private lenders, and it was for my grandmother's house. And so when they got the funds to do it, they began renovating. But then when it was time to refinance, he said the bank wouldn't refinance because I was on the in a part of the business, and my credit wasn't where it needed to be. So he ended up
Definitely
having
on
to
the
buy.
refi.
He definitely he had to buy me out in order to get the refinance. You know what I mean? So I think that's where it comes in.
Well, to your point, the refi, I think even when he brought up the refi is where it's at, buying it initially, because even when it was coming down to like some of these flip funds, they don't even pull credit.
Right.
Yeah, it's just if the property's worth, let's say you do all the legwork to get the property in order to have like title insurance, and the lender said, you know what, you did the legwork. If you default, we get that property for free. We basically get that property.
Right.
So all that legwork was already done, and they will get a property. I mean, those guys were real estate investors too. They just have more money than we
And
do.
to the point, I want you to comment on this one, is that what the people don't really realize about real estate, it's not even just about, okay, I'm either the person that's doing the work, I'm the person investing in it, but then you have the funds, the REITs and things like that are providing money. Sometimes they're okay with taking that 10% of a profit because they have really no risk, because to his point, if you screw up, they get the house for free and now they get to sell it, and they didn't take any of the legwork in there, right?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
And sometimes you've been in that situation where you're like, this kind of, like, this is getting a little rough, and I think you end up getting a home equity out, right? One time where you're like.
Well, I do. I have a home equity, but we don't use it. But I just
Sometimes when it happens, like when there's a little bit of a like, oh crap moment, it's kind of your backup.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, home equity line of credit is perfect if you don't have to use it.
Right.
So you just have that money in the back.
Yeah.
But I do use it. I do use it when I want to do a quick investment.
Yeah.
And get it done, and get it sold. But I got to where I had to collateralize 5 properties to finish 1 property, and then
When you had to what?
I had to like lock down 5 of my properties.
So you had to
for one.
refi and do cash outs on 5 properties to close 1.
Well, it was a private investor. He's like, but he locked down 5 of my properties until like
Almost for collateral.
Yeah, and then every time I sold 1 property, I paid him like 20%, and then eventually it went back down to 0.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
What about exchanges? Have you gone and done any exchanges with any of your properties, especially the short-term ones where?
Like 1031? No, I have not. I mean, it's something we need to look into, but I've been doing land a lot, so you really can't do a 1031 exchange with land.
But so in those early ones, did you just keep it so that you didn't have to worry about capital gains?
I usually a lot of times I just put it to another property and then I kept going or hold. But I was always told was before the end of the year, put money into another property. That way you never have that cash.
Right.
But you know you could get it out anytime you need to.
Right.
Gotcha.
I mean, every once in a while you gotta pay taxes.
Can you explain that a little bit more, just so people understand? So when you're refining it and pulling the cash out, so that when you go to sell it property, there really is never that.
Yeah,
profit.
when you pull the cash out, it's a loan, so you're not paying tax on the loan.
And so then when you're going to sell it, you're doing it based on what you have as a profit over what you owe on it.
Yeah, you'll have to still pay capital gains, but I mean you can stretch it out until,
Over time.
and then you're also paying taxes on the rent income too.
So to your point, I remember when I bought the second home in Myrtle Beach, and I used Justin, to your point of financing, is that I had a stock that did really well, pulled that money. The interest rates were pretty low at the time.
God, yeah, you did good on that one.
Well, I was just going to bring that up to you, because the funny thing is that you don't know what you don't know, but you learn. And there are certain things when I get to a point, I'm like, hey, let me just check my figures, check this. And we actually were able to take my capital gains from a stock market and offset it in the house, because we were able to fixing things. And so I was able to offset my capital gains. And then we held that house for 3 years and got the profits for the 3 years from the rentals.
Yeah.
And then I brought it to the closing table, and you said, "You did a good job." I was like, you know what? Giving somebody a lockbox and making, $300K, you're like, you're good, right? So, but to your point, I learn, and that's having these kind of, talks and stuff is great, because there were people I talked to before I did it. To your point, like you said, how do you get started? Sometimes you buy someone a coffee or you have a beer with someone, and you have a conversation, and you just learn from their mistakes. In no way, shape, form did I know that market would go, like during COVID, nobody knew that the market would go like it did, right? And that during COVID that people decided, I'm not staying in hotels, I'm Airbnb-ing. I'm like, we didn't know, right? We just got lucky. I'm like, hey, let's try this. And
it was
it was a great.
Same with my teardown. I mean, like squatters' rights, and you can't evict anybody. It
Right.
ended up making me $200,000
Right.
just because I couldn't sell it.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if somebody's watching this video right now and they're like, man, I want to get involved, I know you said how to get started, but what advice would you give them to weather the storm to get from where they are now to a point where they're owning some property? Because there's so much hurdles.
Talking about
between
like the
there.
researching kind of it.
I mean, it could be that, but the inspiration part, like,
Okay.
you know, what kind of inspiration would you give to them to say, like, yeah, you can really get through this, it's really possible type?
Yeah, you can. I mean, if you start and it seems like you're not going anywhere, it starts rolling. The ball starts going once you get your first one done. As long as you don't take the money from the first one and go spend it in Vegas. I mean, if you use that investment for another investment, the ball starts rolling pretty quickly as long as you don't get selfish with the money that you make from the first one.
Right.
But from the first one,
And
it's going to be
you're-
the hardest one.
It's going to be the hardest one. And you don't always have as much profits as you think. So to your point, you got to make sure that you're paying all the people that invested in you, because you want to be able to go back to them to ask them to invest in your second and your third.
Yeah, and taxes is real. So you go spend all that money at first, and
then all of a sudden you get their tax bill.
correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's another judgment against you if you don't pay your taxes.
Right.
And then you try to flip another house, you get someone attached to that house.
And to your point, make sure you have a really good attorney that's helping you close on these, because you want to make sure they do the title work.
Correct, yeah.
Because a lot of times when you're investing in properties, there isn't always title insurance policies available. Sometimes there's general warranty or no, it's
Yes.
as is warranties. I'm trying to think.
Quick claim
deeds.
Yeah, and then general warranty and special warranty deeds.
Yeah.
But if true investors, I mean, we at Showflaw do the true investors. We don't mess with wholesalers because we don't want to help them practice real estate without a license, and that's kind of what wholesalers do. So if you have your own sweat in the game, that's where we'll definitely help people out there.
Yeah.
But sweat in the game is key, or look good on paper, get a good lender or a good investor.
I think that's great. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of questions. I think to your point, there's a lot of bad information. So having you on with us really kind of helps our community, because some people do a lot of stupid things. They're like, oh, I'm going to just flip this property, but there's not enough equity in the house to flip it.
Yeah, and you just got to know the market. You know the market better than anybody.
Well, thank you for saying that. Is there something that you're finishing up right now?
Got one on the market.
Is it the land with the trailer?
Yeah, this is a good one. So new mobile homes are hidden jewel in certain areas that the comps are up there. The comps around mine is 250. It's a double wide, brand new, 2024. We just put it on there, and the actual double wide costs $86,000. The hard part was the septic and the well.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to do a double wide or mobile home, go find one that's dilapidated and move that thing out and put a new one there.
Yeah.
Because the well and septic will already be there.
That was the expensive part. And
Yeah.
to the point, you found land, so there's certain areas that you find that rural land makes sense. You buy some cheaper land.
And
If
most
there's a
of that,
septic and well in there, then you're pretty much golden with a good double wide.
yeah, most of that's USDA approved. That's
Yeah.
100% financing. And then there's enough room in the profits that you could pay a decent amount of closing costs for the client.
And
so
to-
everybody's kind of
Right.
winning.
And to your point, by the way, we do get excited about this because we learned this about the same time that I didn't do it. I paused. I was like, I'll just put my money in the stock market when you all jumped in on that. But when you guys were doing it, you guys were making sure that you kind of hit that first-time home buyer's market in those areas.
The
So
pricing,
you got to know the pricing of the
Yeah,
areas.
the pricing of the area is important. I mean, you won't do one in Charlotte because,
Right.
first of all, you probably can't do one in Charlotte because
You can't afford the land in the area.
Yeah.
Right. But your rural areas is where that
yeah.
marketing strategy works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but hour 15 minutes.
And you
outside.
make about maybe 50 to 60,000 on the property by the time you're done.
Yeah, so I think we have 150 in, and it's listed right now for 258.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it.
Well, I know you got to get back to work. We
do.
pulled you away.
Got some closings
Do you want
going
people
on.
to get a hold of you, like if they have questions? That's your thing.
That's not my thing.
Don't call them.
Don't call me.
Don't call
Where
them.
I'm here. I got a day job. We just do that investing part on the side,
Yeah.
which is always fun.
But this is free advice
Yeah.
from someone. You learn from his mistakes.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
learn from his successes.
get
and
get your permits too.
Make sure you get your permits. And make sure you don't get any money from the mob.
Yeah,
Shady people.
I'm pretty sure that one investor that gave me money was mafia. He's in Florida,
Oh man.
but it was he locked me down pretty
Your
good.
wife
Mob
does not
ties.
know about that one.
Mob ties.
She doesn't know. I don't know if she does.
Uh-oh.
She'll know in a minute.
It's like, no, that was 10 years ago. So
Do you want to say that's
was all
before you
done.
got married?
No, it was before my kids.
Okay.
And one of my guys cut his fingers off, and the property I actually made good money on. So workers' compensation is very important too. At the end of the day, it's
Okay.
always fun.
On that note, I guess that's the Loco part of this,
Keeping
this
it
show.
Loco.
So I'm Justin Ortiz. That's Pam Fender.
Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, appreciate you,
Take
man.
care.
Thank you.
All right, I'll get back to it.
Okay.
All right, get back to work, man.